Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about a very trending topic, very hotly debated topic, and something that has come into discussion after the COVID-19 pandemic actually ravaged the entire world. The topic for today is One Health. Now, first of all, One Health can be asked in your prelims also, that what exactly is the meaning of this. We'll talk about all of it. But One Health as a topic becomes important for your GS2 examination, of course, the health aspect of it. It even becomes important for your GS3 examination because in GS3 you talk about livestock. In GS3 you talk about agriculture, you talk about animal husbandry and everything. So, One Health as a concept gains a lot of relevance. Now, for those of you who do not know what the concept is at all, watch this lecture completely and you will understand, and you will also understand that there can be a separate question on this as well. So, before we move forward, let me just tell you how you will get the notes for this particular class. For notes, you can either make handwritten notes. Okay, as the class proceeds, the points are very well structured. So you will be able to make those handwritten notes. But it's your responsibility to structure those handwritten notes. What do I mean by this? That you need to compile them in a manner that GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 and plus topic wise, and then you have to go back at them again and again. Right? So you have to be a very good manager of these notes that you are creating, because just creating notes is not going to get you any value. The second thing that you can do to get the notes is you can order the Sunya IAS GS books. Okay. So we have GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. So for example, One Health as a topic is there in GS2. Okay, the health section. So here you can order these books and they are basically the notes. Why I'm telling you is that because in comments mostly people ask for PDF etc. So PDF will not be provided either. In the beginning I'm telling you, you make the handwritten ones or you order the Shunya GS books. Now with this, let's start with the One Health. First of all, what exactly is One Health? See, there are two things. We always talk about flora and fauna, right? Even within fauna, there are two aspects. One is the Homo sapiens, that is us, the human beings. And the other aspect is everything else. Everything else, everything, every other species that exists is under the everything else. Why I am saying this is because we are officially now living in the Anthropocene. Anthropocene means that human interference and human impact has actually led to a distinguishable impact on the overall planet. We as a species have been able to impact a whole planet altogether and change certain characteristics of it. Now, because of this Anthropocene, our contact with all these other species of fauna, wherein I am specifically talking about animals, right? Animals which live in close proximity to us, like for example, the cattle, then the dogs, then some birds as well, the pigeons, the bats, from where it is said, you know, the COVID-19 pandemic actually started. The bat was the carrier. So why this discussion regarding One Health came up is because it was seen that the health of human beings, that is Homo sapiens, cannot be completely separated from the animal kingdom, from the health of the other animals. And that is One Health. That if you take care in a sustainable manner of the entire animal kingdom, in that sense that you are not leading to biodiversity loss, you are not causing a lot of pollution, you are not taking away their food. For example, if we talk about vultures, vultures were threatened. Why? Because of this drug called endosulfan and diclofenac. diclofenac, which actually leads to deaths in vultures, right? And when vultures die, then vultures are not able to eat the dead carcasses, and the dead carcasses actually then lead to diseases for the human beings. So everything is a cycle, and One Health says that you cannot manage the human health without managing the entire animal kingdom and the ecosystem. You have to maintain the balance of this entire ecosystem. That is One Health. Okay. Now, One Health as a concept, where did it start from? There were four organizations which recently come up, and this is a, as I already told you, this is a post-COVID occurrence. So, there were four organizations. One is very understandably the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO. Fine. The second is United Nation Environment Program, and this is where I say that this topic is even important for the prelims examination. They can ask you that where did this One Health concept come from? So FAO is pretty understandable. UNEP is pretty understandable. The third is extremely understandable, that is WHO, World Health Organization. We are talking about One Health, so World Health Organization has to be there. And World Organization for Animal Health. World Organization for Animal Health, WOAH. These four organizations came together and they created a plan called One Health Joint Plan of Action. One Health Joint Plan of Action. And mostly I don't make you guys write everything in detail, but One Health is such a hot topic and such an important topic that you cannot actually afford to miss knowing everything that there is to know about it. Okay, so One Health Joint Plan of Action, which is valid from 2022 to 2026. So this topic will remain relevant till 2026. For example, 2023 was the year of millets, right? So this topic remained important throughout 2023. है ना? Millets was, and it was seen in various aspects of the UPSC examination as well. So these four organizations, FAO, UNEP, WHO and WOAH, World Organization for Animal Health. ठीक है. Now, how are you supposed to define what exactly One Health is? To define that, there are 6 action tracks which are outlined in this joint action plan for One Health for 2022 to 26, and this is basically the definition. The first is enhancing One Health capacities. How will you enhance One Health capacities? Be it the human health systems, be it the animal health systems, the number of doctors, the number of veterinarians have to increase, right? Then reducing the risk. There is something called man-animal conflict. Man-animal conflict. Now, what is this? You mostly would have heard about this in terms of that, okay, an elephant has come into a farm and elephant has destroyed the field. So, man-animal conflict ho gaya. But please understand that even if an animal is transporting some virus to humans around where the animal is living, even that is man-animal conflict, na? Because somehow you have entered into the territory of a particular animal where you were not supposed to enter, and those endemic viruses now you have taken. Why do these diseases like Ebola, they emerge from the African continent? Why? These are zoonotic diseases. Why do they emerge from Africa? Because Africa has one of the densest forests that are there. And now that we are actually performing deforestation on the African forests and the African, wildlife diversity is being impacted, the endemic viruses are going out of their area. They are being transported. So that is how the the zoonotic diseases are being transferred. This is very simple to understand. That is one of the goals, that we have to reduce the risk. Then controlling and eliminating the endemic overall viruses. I just told you what is an endemic. So for example, this is an area, this is a country, and in this particular country there is this virus X which is found only in this country. Then you will call it an endemic virus. Okay, it is not found anywhere else, it is endemic. Okay, but if there is a lot of to and fro from this particular country to other places, then this virus will cease to be endemic and it will become a global virus, eventually maybe translating into a pandemic or a epidemic. So that becomes a problem. Fine, that is there. So again, this is one of the goals, that the endemic viruses have to be controlled. Then the assessment has to be strengthened. So for example, during COVID-19, you would have seen that isolating the SARS-CoV virus was very difficult. It took a lot of time to isolate that virus and identify that, okay, this is the virus because of which these symptoms are running around and these people are dying and everything, right? That was because the assessment was not very strong. Okay, similarly, it took a fair amount of time for the vaccine to develop as well. So when we have had this kind of an experience, it is our responsibility as a global village, I would say, that we need to be prepared for the further pandemics and epidemics also. For example, WHO talks about a disease X. COVID-19 was a disease. Disease X that WHO talks about, that is going to be the next pandemic. And the entire world has to be prepared for that particular pandemic, because now we are not immune to all these things anymore. Okay, it took us time to develop. Now most of us are immune to SARS-CoV, but there will be newer viruses. As we cut down more and more forests, there will be newer viruses that arrive. There will be more neglected tropical diseases. You can write down this particular term, neglected tropical diseases. It is very clear from the name itself that these are found in the tropical areas. They are not very well researched into. Ebola is also one of the neglected tropical diseases, right? There is no solution for Ebola. Okay, so these are the things, and these are the action tracks on which the joint plan is going to function. Then curbing the silent pandemic. As I told you, the disease X, we have to be ready for that, and that is why this One Health concept. We have to live in harmony with the animal kingdom. We cannot dominate it anymore. It is done. We have been doing activities like hunting. We have been genetically modifying animals. We have been doing everything to actually impact in a negative way the animal kingdom, and this approach is not working anymore. It has led to, in fact, the lab leak theory. What was the lab leak theory? Lab leak theory regarding COVID-19 was that in a lab in China, there was some testing of some viruses, or maybe some creation, some genetic mutation happening in the in some of the viruses, and some of that virus escaped somehow. And it somehow escaped to the wet markets. From there, it was eaten by someone. These kind of patterns, right? So that lab leak theory shows that we are going to witness the pandemic X. What that is going to be, that is not very clear, but the silent pandemic has to be addressed, right? The silent pandemic has to be addressed. Along with this, there is another aspect to this silent pandemic, which is antimicrobial resistance. Okay, now antimicrobial resistance again is a topic which demands a separate 20 to 30-minute video in itself. But overall, antimicrobial resistance is a big problem, because the kind of over-the-counter medicines that we are taking, and so many of medicines loosely available, then there is lack of sanitation. We are developing immunity to basic medicines. We are developing immunity to basic medicines. For example, during COVID-19, Dolo was one medicine that everyone popped in like candy, right? Now, when you have Dolo, or when you have any, uh, you know, antibacterial kind of medicine, the antiviral medicine, antibacterial medicine, your body forgets how to fight against these microbes. And that is when you develop antimicrobial resistance. That is why endosulfan, diclofenac, these have been banned, because they develop antimicrobial resistance overall in the vultures as well. Okay, so this is the silent pandemic. Along with the disease X, the antimicrobial resistance, which is caused by the human-animal conflict, is also a target. And integrating the environment, whatever we are planning, even if we are planning the biggest of the cities, the busiest of the complexes, we are not supposed to disturb the animal kingdom. So for example, you would have seen in India, there is this concept of elephant corridors. Elephant corridors, wherein elephants can pass from from above the roads, and they do not have to go over the roads, and there is lesser chance of accidents. Now that's a physical accident, okay? But even when we are eating more and more kind of animals, even now when we are researching on more and more kind of animals, the risk of developing antimicrobial resistance and the risk of zoonotic diseases keeps on increasing. That is why we need to integrate the environment when we are developing. Now, see the features. You don't need to write the features in your answer, but you need to understand the features to write a good answer overall. And overall, the solution, this is basically the solution of a problem of not having one health currently. Okay, so there is maintenance of health security of both humans and animals. There is collaborations of all kind of professionals. So doctors and veterinarians will not be functioning in silos, but they will be functioning together. Livestock specialists, livestock farmers, they will not be functioning in silos, they will be functioning together so that they can solve the problems that are emerging together. Then focus should be on sustainable development. We have SDG 3, which talks about good health and well-being, for which One Health creates a very important case. Then we also take a multi-dimensional approach. So our approach should not be to avoid, should not just be to avoid the diseases, but also, for example, to ensure food security. And not just to ensure food security of human beings, again, ensure food security of the animals as well. Okay, if you cut down, keep on cutting down the forests, keep on cutting down the bushes, then where will the herbivores eat? If the herbivores will not eat, what will the carnivores eat? Right? You are messing up the entire food cycle, which we have been doing for a very long time now. But this pandemic has shown us that things can be run in a different manner as well. Okay. Addressing the complex health challenges that is there. So now this is something that you need to write in your answers. What is the need for One Health approach? This is the administrative point of view. This is the bureaucrat point of view, that okay, you have done the normative aspect, you are not preparing for a health examination, a medical examination, you are preparing for an administrative examination. So see it from the point of view of a administrator. First is that One Health is a global movement. As I told you, UNEP, WHO, FEO, WOAH, these organizations all coming together. And if India does not take an active interest in this particular campaign, then it brings a bad name to India as well. So administratively, it's a global movement. Okay. Then administratively, it actually requires and demands a collaborative effort. So for example, if I were to talk about South Asia, the problem of One Health cannot be tackled country wise because it's the Indian subcontinent. So countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Myanmar, we all have to come together because we all are facing similar challenges when it comes to our One Health. Okay. Then combating the disease threat and specifically the zoonotic diseases, because One Health is all about managing the zoonotic diseases. For example, if I were to tell you that what is one of the biggest diseases in India right now, it's rabies. And rabies has been eliminated in most of the developed world. Okay, but rabies cases in India are the highest in the world. Why is that? Because we do not have a One Health approach. Our approach is very haphazard when it comes to dogs and monkeys. We don't know what to do with the stray dogs. We don't have an adoption regime, right? So, and once you are infected by rabies, it is 100% fatal. It is not even 99% fatal, it is 100% fatal. If the virus reaches your brain, you cannot survive. And still, we have the menace of stray dogs. Every other day, we see, especially from states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, that people are being bitten by dogs. And then, on the converse, we also see that people are doing violence on dogs as well. There is no harmony. Why? Because there is no proper sterilization program of dogs that is going on. Everyone is doing blame game, but sterilization is not happening in reality, right? If sterilization happens, the problem of stray dogs will automatically end. Okay, so that is there. This is the disease threat, and this is the problem that is being faced across South Asia, the problem of stray dogs, stray animals overall. Then information on viral agents is also something that we don't have and we need. And well coordinated approach. If we talk about the states as well, again, health is a state subject. So although states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala would be doing great in health overall, but they are still affected by rabies. They are very much affected by rabies and they are not able to do much about it. Then when it comes to overall concept of health, then you would see that tackling emerging infectious diseases, like I told you about the disease X, which WHO talks about, this disease X, we have to be ready for it. Another thing is that human activities are expanding. Now we are going into genetic engineering, right? And the more we play with the animal kingdom, the larger will be the threat of us being affected by it. And that is why we need to adopt a One Health approach. Some basics have to be very clear. We cannot mess up with the basics, right? Then urbanization, climate change. Biggest problem is urbanization and climate change, and not just urbanization. It is unplanned urbanization. Okay. There is no research that is happening on whether this mall that we are creating or this housing complex we are creating, is there a problem of snakes over here? Is there a problem of dogs? Is there a problem? There was this recent news that in the Sainik Farm locality of Delhi, there was this leopard that was seen, leopard or tiger, I don't remember. So how are these things happening? If we are creating, if we want to live in a jungle, wildlife safari, that's a different thing. But why are we not able to assess that where we should stop? Okay, we should stop somewhere. We should not be doing unlimited and unplanned development that way. And that is where One Health approach is going to help us. Then antimicrobial resistance, I told you, and increasing inequality, fragility, and violence. For example, in slums, you will see people losing their lives because of zoonotic diseases, and they are not even aware that they fell victim to this. Like, for example, black fungus also. Black fungus was this infection that was primarily affecting the poor and marginalized people because of lack of sanitation, right? But they were not aware what was happening to them. Similarly, Nipah virus, again, fruit bats, Nipah virus, which keeps on coming in Kerala again and again. Why is this happening? Because we are entering into the domain of animals and we are not caring about their well-being, and that is how Mother Nature is going to react if we disturb the balance. This may be the Anthropocene, but nature does reign and remain supreme in every context. Okay. And in many ways, One Health approach is the acceptance that we cannot control the nature beyond a particular limit, right? We cannot actually gain 100% control over nature. It is sort of bowing down to nature, if you ask me. But what are the challenges? There are, of course, many challenges. Even if, let's say, one ministry, there is health ministry that is willing to do that, how will the health ministry convince the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to actually take a step back and take this entire check on the particular area where they want to build a housing society? How will they do that? So this siloed approach is there. We don't even have a One Health authority. The National Health Authority that we have, it is so overburdened, and the concept of One Health has not even seeped in right now. We don't have professionals. We have not consulted people who are livestock specialists. We still see instances like wild cows and wild buffaloes just moving on our roads in urban areas like it's nobody's business and like it's very, very normal. Have you ever thought about it that why do so many cows and so much cattle just is on the Indian roads, and why is it so normal? They are on the Indian roads because as soon as the cow stops producing milk, the cow is of no use to the particular farmer, and that is when the farmer lets go of the cow. That is one thing. Second thing is that India is the largest producer and exporter of beef. You would be knowing that maybe. If you didn't, then I'm telling you right now that no matter what the discourse regarding beef is, we are still the largest producer and exporter of beef. So, but cow cannot be used for beef for obvious reasons, for religious reasons, right? It is the bull. It is not the cow that whose meat can be used for beef. So the cows, you cannot kill them for beef. You cannot store them because they will keep on having your fodder. So you leave them on the roads. And this is a very common practice. That is why you see so many cows on the roads. They are basically rejects from the farmers. Now, why don't we have a system? Why don't we have a system to actually, make them, give them a decent final life? And this is the concept of gaushala that is coming up. This is the concept of gaushala that is coming up, that just because a cow has stopped giving milk does not mean that you leave it on the roads. And when you leave it on the roads, there will be accidents as well. Leave it on the roads, there will be infections as well. So that is One Health approach, and that is the problem, that it is siloed. Okay. Now when this gaushala debate comes up, then a lot of religious angle also comes up. But when the animal which is on the roads is the cow, then you will create the gaushala for cow only, na? Whichever animal is there, the animal or the dog is there on the roads, you will create it for the dogs. So anyway, siloed approach. Lack of communication and adequate data sharing. We don't understand the concept of One Health. Inadequate funding. We don't even have funding overall for health sector touching 5%. We have hardly 2.1% of GDP being spent on the health sector. How can we expect, and how are we expecting money to flow in for the livestock, right? Then limited practical guidance, because it's hardly the case when veterinarians and doctors are sitting together and planning government level pe. And limited awareness among common people as well. People go on touching stray animals also, or being violent with stray animals. It's either of the two, and they are not aware of the repercussions that can be there. Okay, so that is lack of awareness itself. These are the challenges. Now, very important, you need to know the government initiatives, because every time you answer these kind of questions, you should be knowing that government is doing something to resolve this. So globally, there is Pilanesberg resolution of 2001. Basically, this resolution seeks to empower government authorities on One Health, and One Health term did not come up that time, but still it was basically the animal health and human health combined that was being targeted. So Pilanesberg resolution empower the government through funding from individual countries and funding from multilateral organizations like WHO, etc. as well. So if you write Pilanesberg resolution or Pilanesberg declaration, that this will immediately attract the attention of the examiner, that yes, this person has done some kind of research and some kind of extra study on One Health, and is not just writing generic points on One Health. Then One World, One Health. One World, One Health is basically was launched in 2007. So this One Health concept is not very recent, but has come into discourse very recently. So it was by Wildlife Conservation Society, and Wildlife Conservation Society gave Manhattan Principles. You can write this down. Gave Manhattan Principles. These are 12 principles which the Wildlife Conservation Society suggested, so that there would be a holistic approach on epidemic control. A holistic research on epidemic control. Even then, the focus was not primarily on One Health as such, because it was how to save the human beings, right? But now we have accepted it again. We have bowed down to Mother Nature and said that we need to protect the animals as well. And National Framework for One Health 2021 by FAO. This is the post-COVID regime, wherein we are focusing on targeting systematic and systemic barriers. Systematic barriers are to be removed, and the focus has to be that every country should be able to target One Health. It should not be something that is limited to the developed countries. I hope you understand that. Then domestically, there are various aspects that have been done. So for example, collaboration between center and states is seen. Whichever state, for example, I told you that in Kerala we see Nipah virus. So center will give funds for the Nipah virus aspect of it. Then in some states we see the avian influenza, है ना, जैसे राजस्थान में दिख जाता है avian influenza. So these kind of things. Institutional collaboration is also seen. So for example, ICAR would be collaborating with the Indian Medical Association, IMA. These kind of collaborations are seen. Then One Health Support Unit has been established. National Mission on Biodiversity and Human Well-Being. Just see the name of this. It is self-explanatory. National Mission on Biodiversity and Human Well-Being. Biodiversity come first, and if it is being taken care of, even the human well-being will be ensured. One Health project, as it is, has been introduced, the One Health project, and it is basically a research-based project that is focusing on researching on various microbes and antimicrobial resistance, etc. Then Regional One Health Initiative. As I told you, the South Indian states are more prone to these kind of viruses because of the stray dogs and the bats and everything. Basically the higher humidity. The higher humidity there is, the more bacterial growth there will be, right? So Regional One Health initiative is also there. Then animal health system support for One Health and animal pandemic preparedness initiative. So these are some initiatives that you can, and of course in your mains examination you will not be getting the slightest bit of time to write detail about any of these. Okay, you mention about a few of these name wise and that will be enough for you. I hope you understand that. So this is the government initiative, and way forward has to be very simple, very basic. See, in these kind of aspects, the way forward will be very basic. There is nothing complex that you have to write. Please understand that there are so many subjects that are being asked from you. You cannot be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, everything at the same time. You have specialization only at one place, right? So don't try to write very technical. Write basic points, but write valid points. Don't write vague also. Okay, so we need to prepare pandemic preparedness plans. We need to have a shift from largely vertical programs. So for example, we need to expand our base of these diseases. Right now, our focus is on rabies, Nipah, and more recently the COVID-19, etc. But there are so many more diseases that can spiral down to more and more of those mutations. So we have to shift from the largely vertical evolution that way, and we have to expand our horizon. We need to develop databases and models on how these things, just for example H1N1, swine flu, how is it that it keeps on coming every few years, right? Integration in pandemic prevention plans. Then overall the nexus, for example, I'll tell you the rabies aspect of it. You know why rabies is still prevalent in India? And it is not a conspiracy theory, it is the reality. And I'd like you to research about it, that ideally what should happen is that stray dogs should be sterilized. Okay, we are not living in a Western culture wherein we just neutralize them. We do not kill the stray dogs. We should sterilize them. But what happens is, through a lot of NGOs also, that feeding is constantly happening. So you would see many dog based NGOs or stray NGOs, stray animal based NGOs, wherein the focus would be that we want to feed the animals. It's okay, you feed the animals, but if you're taking the responsibility of feeding them, you also take the responsibility of sterilizing them. But they don't get them sterilized. Why? Because the rabies vaccine is being manufactured by a few people in India and overseas who do not want this disease to end. Are you understanding? It is not difficult to eradicate rabies because you sterilize the stray dogs, whichever stray dogs are existing, you give them the rabies vaccine, and within a span of 4 to 5 years, rabies can be eliminated because rabies vaccine has almost 100% success rate. Okay, still not eradicated till now because this nexus is there. So these kind of nexuses, wherein some or the other business organization is trying to just put forward their interest over the One Health approach, they need to be targeted. Okay, then timely detection is very important. Consolidating disease surveillance, there is a very crucial need to just segregate the various viruses that are emerging and not be confused regarding whether they are coming from the, just for example, COVID-19 came from the SARS virus family. It was immediately found out. How? Because the database was already there. But India mein this database and this sequencing is a little slower. So that has to be increased. Guidelines have to be developed. Various ministries have to collaborate, and institutional mechanism. So a One Health forum or a One Health institution sort of a thing can be established. If these are, of course, these are very idealist, so you pick up some of these which you can justify in your answer. But overall, One Health can appear as a 10 marker, can even appear as a 15 marker, because very crucial organizations are talking about it. right? So it definitely cannot be ignored. Okay. So with this, we are at the end of this class, and I hope you derived some value out of this class, because this topic is such that has been in news lately. So lately, and there is this plan that will run till 2026. So you can expect that you can get a question anytime, any year till 2026, right? So, yes, I hope you have made notes or marked the important points in the books that you have. And I will see you all in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.